Hi, my name is Nicolle Potvin. I graduated from URI in 2016 and I was the 2017 College of Health Sciences commencement speaker. I am currently a therapist in Providence, Rhode Island, and I am here to answer some questions about my career and how I got here. So the first question is, how did you come to the career path that you're in? I came to the field of psychology, I would say, in a personal way. I myself had experiences with mental illness growing up, and I went to therapy growing up, and I found it to be extremely helpful, and I became inspired by that and knew that I wanted to commit the rest of my life to helping others who were going through similar situations. So starting my junior year of high school, I took my first psychology class and then became even more intrigued by all of the different disorders and diagnoses and the science behind psychology and how, you can take this science and all of these theories and use it to help people who are struggling with mental illness and help them to live very happy, successful, and fulfilling lives. The second question is, how has your degree assisted you in the position that you're in? So my bachelor's degree directly assisted in my position because my position requires a master's degree. And in order to get a master's degree, you need your bachelor's degree. You don't necessarily need a bachelor's degree in psychology to get a master's degree in psychology, but it certainly helps. I would say that at the bachelor level, you're getting that initial experience and that initial knowledge of all of the different theories and illnesses that encompass psychology. Your master's degree helps to reinforce and helps you to dive deeper while also helping you to apply those things into actual practice of psychology. And then when you graduate, you are in the workforce and you are practicing all of those skills in real time, and you are preparing to become a licensed clinician. The third question is, what is something you wish you knew before graduating? Something I wish I knew before graduating college was all of the different options that you had in the fields of psychology. But some of the bigger ones are social work, or there's licensed mental health counselors, there's ABA, which is applied behavior analysis, there's school psychology, there's PsyD, and there's PhD. I would say that licensed independent clinical social workers and licensed mental health counselors are very, very similar. Both are, I would say, essentially qualified to do the same exact type of jobs. However, in the state of Rhode Island, there are some regulations regarding what types of jobs you can have depending on your license. So for LMHCs, which is the track that I'm on, we don't work in schools or hospitals in the state of Rhode Island just because there are regulations that protect those jobs for social workers. However, that's not the case in a lot of other states. For example, Massachusetts, you can have either license and pretty much do all of the same things. The fourth question is, share advice on applying and choosing grad schools. The graduate school that you choose is really going to set you up for the career and license that you have. I went to Northeastern University for my master's in counseling psychology, and they specifically set me up for the Massachusetts licensed mental health counselor application. Fortunately enough, Rhode Island and Massachusetts have very similar requirements, so I'm actually eligible in both states. However, I'm not necessarily eligible in the state of California because they require a bit more classes than Massachusetts and Rhode Island would require. So it's really important to consider where you want to work and what you want to do before choosing your grad school. Additionally, accreditation is huge. Making sure that you are attending an accredited program is very, very important. The next question is, what are some skills or things that can help you to be more competitive? I would say this really depends on what type of track you're taking. So if you want to be competitive for a PhD program, you're going to want to do extensive research in your bachelor education. If you are looking for the more clinical track or maybe a social work track, it's going to be important to get extremely involved in different clubs and organizations that focus on clinical experience. And I would also say your internship experiences are also incredibly important. Not only do they tell you or give you an opportunity to tell you what it is you like and don't like in the field, but it also helps you to show that you have experience, show that you've seen and practiced psychology in those settings, even at the bachelor level. That way, when you are applying to these different programs, you have that edge to your application. The next question is, what are the trends in the field and what does a normal day look like? So I'll start with the trends in the field. I think this is a really interesting question, especially while we are still in the middle of a global pandemic. All outpatient therapy essentially switched over to virtual. And I think that telehealth or teletherapy, virtual therapy is here to stay. I think that there are pros and cons to virtual therapy, and there are pros and cons to in-person therapy, and it all depends on the client and the situation. In terms of what a normal day looks like, it all depends on the setting that you're in. I've worked at Bradley Hospital in their adolescent inpatient setting. I've worked at Walden Behavioral Care in their adolescent and their adult residential eating disorder programs. I've worked with the Warwick Public School Systems. I've also worked at URI in the counseling center, which was more of a private practice outpatient setting, just on a college campus. And now I work in a residential setting with clients who are in state care. They are all females aged 16 to 21. Right now in residential, your day could look different each and every single day. In addition to being in the program and to doing my sessions with my clients or doing group therapy with my clients, I am attending a lot of meetings. I'm doing a lot of documentation and writing my clinical notes. When I was working at the University of Rhode Island Counseling Center, and my entire day was filled just with 45 to 50-minute sessions with clients all day long. And I loved it, but I also love what I do now, so you never know what you're going to get. So make sure that even if you, especially for me, like I have a specialty in eating disorders, but just because of that, I have not focused all of my experience and all of my internships on eating disorders, and it has very much helped me to figure out what it is that I want to do. It's important to kind of figure out what's meant for you and what's not meant for you. And finally, what are the most rewarding and what are the most challenging experiences in this field? I would say one of the most obvious answers in terms of what's the most rewarding or fulfilling experiences are saving people's lives with your words. It's an incredibly profound thing to say that you spend your days saving and improving people's lives simply with your words. It's also very challenging because there's a lot of responsibility there. At the end of the day, you do have people's lives in your hands, and it's up to you to have the skills and the rapport and the personality to be able to utilize what you've learned and use it in that moment to help save someone's life or to help better their lives. It's very challenging, and it can be very stressful at times. It can be very nerve-wracking. It can be very scary, especially when you're starting out. I know, I've had experiences where I was just kind of like, what do I do? And it's really important to have supports and to take things slow and to figure out, what setting is right for you and what type of work you like to do, because that will just help you to kind of feel more confident, and then all the responsibility that comes with this position and that comes with this field can in some ways be alleviated, but at the end of the day it's a huge responsibility, and I think that's one of the most challenging things. Additionally, within practice itself, one of the more challenging things about this field is when someone does not want to be in therapy and yet they are, and it can also be difficult when that person may potentially be aggressive. When you've got someone, screaming and yelling at you and trying to hit you or throw things at you, it's very unsettling and uncomfortable, but I promise that over time, you do kind of grow a thicker skin to that sort of reaction, and you continue to learn ways to assist people who are very resistant to your help. It's usually the most difficult experiences that I've had that I look back on and am truly grateful for. So try to remember that, and I will also provide my email and my LinkedIn so that if you have any further questions, I am very happy to answer them for you. I'd like to make the state of Rhode Island a leader in mental health services, so if I can help fellow URI students to kind of reach success, then I'm happy to do so. Please feel free to reach out, and good luck in all of your endeavors, and I really hope that you find your place in the field of psychology.